shot was fired, you see Colosio right here. See his head turn to the right here. I think he saw his shooter right before the trigger was pulled. And how sad is that? That's his last ever visual. And who could blame him? If someone's trying to get rid of you and kill you, wouldn't you want to get a good look at that person? Wouldn't you want to know what he looked like? So, very sad story, obviously. What you don't see on the videotape is that he was shot twice. The second shot hit him in the stomach. And the person who fired the first shot apparently is in jail. I say apparently loosely because this is Mexico, and you really can't trust too much. The second shot, we don't know who fired that shot. I have to imagine it was done close by, because if it was done far away, look how many people are, I mean, he's jammed here. It's gonna hit someone else probably. So that second shot had to have been fired from someone close by. That's just common sense. So this guy we interviewed in the movie, he was actually arrested for and thrown in jail for maybe a year or two, and then he was released. But the Mexican government would love for you to believe that it was a single lone crazed gunman, but I think this was a complex plot because of the second shot. So, and they would determine later that the shots came from different cartridges. But despite all that, the Mexican government insists that it was a single shooter. If this was a single shooter, then I'm not Asian. Okay. So, yeah, tough story. By all accounts, he was a good man. And I guess the PRI got nervous of him, thinking that he was not a puppet. And a lot of people thought that Colosio, who was also the PRI, was betrayed by his own party. So a lot of people thought, had this not happened, Mexico might be a different place today. He may have changed the country. Would we have seen 12,000 murders in Juarez in the last 12 years? Would the missing women continue to go missing from the maquiladores? I did a movie on that. Please watch it, called Donde Están. It's on Amazon Prime. Angers me to this day that nothing's being done about all the women that are getting raped and murdered in Juarez. That started in 1993. This happened in 94. So certainly a valid question. Would that have affected the missing women from Juarez? So we have any quick questions for myself, and I want to introduce you to my two distinguished guests.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
In the video, can you hear the gunshots, like the two that were fired?
No.
No?
If you notice, there was a loud song played in the background called La Culebra by Banda Machos. And by the way, I can't get that song out of my head. It's just, I'm going to bed with it, waking up with it. I can't shake it. I'm eating with it. It's a great song, by the way. And that song just rose to popularity because everyone in Mexico connects it to the Colosio shooting. So some people theorize that the volume of that song was turned up.
So the gunshots would not be noticed.
That's a good point, but I was getting to, they were going to wait till a certain beat of the song, and that's when the shots fired. And I think the second shot was fired just in case the first shot didn't go to plan. It was a second shot plan. So I think everyone's going to start looking at Banda Machos now, right? I forever ruined you. All right, who else? Yeah.
What made you interested in creating this documentary?
I've done, like, Jordy, how many films have I made in Mexico? Seriously, I've lost track.
You mentioned 8, 12, 20.
I think it's 15 now in Mexico, yeah. So it's a country of huge interest to me. 5 in Juarez, I went to Chapo Guzman's house. I've done a lot in Mexico. I've done everything but run onto the soccer field and score on Memo Ochoa. And that's hard to do. Who else has any questions? Anything? Go ahead.
You're probably going to see this in the documentary, but how far do you theorize that they planned back the attack?
You have to see the film, ma'am.
Okay.
I mean, you answered your own question. What was the question? I'm sorry. What was the question?
I'm going to go see it anyway.
Yeah, what was the question?
How far back do you think they planned the assassination?
Great question. You know, that speech you saw in the beginning of the trailer, it's a very emotional speech. It's known as the Martin Luther King speech of Mexico. I have a dream. And he says a lot of emotional things, and Jordy says in the film, no one talked like him. No one talked the way he did, and if you watch Colosio here, in his speech here, can we just get the lights for 1 second? Sure. Thanks, Laura. I just love his emotion and his passion, the beads of sweat here. I mean, by all accounts, good man. He was from Magdalena de Quino, Sonora. Sonora is tucked in between Chihuahua and Baja California. And this was a passionate man. And he had his own ideas. A lot of people probably thought he was trying to do too much on his own, perhaps drift a little bit away from PRI, even though he was the PRI. And a lot of people thought that the words he used on this speech may have killed him. So this speech was on March 6th in Mexico City, the capital, and the murder happened on March 23rd, 17 days later. So I think 2.5 weeks is enough time to plot to get rid of somebody. I hate to say it that way, but I mean...
It's logical.
Well, I mean, if you notice, it happened in Tijuana, which is the furthest most point from Mexico City. You can't go anywhere northwest. So just little things that were put into place. How come this didn't happen in Mexico City? I think the reaction would have been different and faster. So, yeah, his words may have gotten him killed. So to answer your question, maybe it was from this. So maybe just 2.5 weeks. All right, I'll take one last question, and we'll turn it over to our respected guests. Go ahead.
How do you get so interested in Mexico?
Well, you know, sir, it was more of an injustice situation. Now, I can't stand here and tell you I've studied every country, but I mean, Mexico's got to be top 5 in terms of injustice. I mean, it's just crazy what's going on. I mean, there's like no investigations. Are there even handcuffs in Mexico?
No.
I mean, it's just like no one gets arrested. And if they do, you always question the official version. You think it's a scapegoat. The Mexican people are not stupid. They understand that they can't trust their officials. All right, so.
George, did you want to say a little bit about the proceeds? Did you tell them what that?
Yeah, well, it's on the mini flyer. Yeah, every dollar goes to the Walmart Shooting Victims Fund. There's 2 victims remaining in the hospital still. One of them woke up from a coma 2 weeks ago. His medical bills exceed $3 million. So we should never ever forget our fellow El Pasoan. We didn't deserve this. A lot of them. Anyone in this room a direct victim by any chance? Lost a friend or, God forbid, a family member during the Walmart? Nobody? It's good. All right, so my first guest wrote a book right here called Complot, which means plot. And it's a very detailed, in-depth look at the assassination. This book is so good and so revealing that the Mexican government banned it when it came out in 1996. And the hard work by this fearless journalist, Dora Elena Cortez, should be an example to all of us. And the book was reinstated 2 years ago. So it was on the shelf for over 20 years. And you can buy it tomorrow night at the theater. Dora's here along with Jordi Labria, my other friend from Tijuana, who worked on the film as well.
Entonces es cuando ya crece la campaña, cuando ya empieza a llamar la atención a la ciudadanía, y en ese periodo es cuando le corresponde la fase de la campaña en Tijuana. Llega después de haber estado en La Paz, Baja California Sur.